It's a very tough time for Nigerians as oil marketers, oil transport workers, and the federal government engage in blame games related to oil subsidy payments. This is against the background of falling global oil prices that have come to hurt Nigeria due to its almost total dependence on oil revenues. The country at the moment is walking on the edge. We hosted Felix Ofou, a special advisor to Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan, the governor of oil-rich Delta State, south-south of Nigeria, to review this two-part book titled Delta Beyond Oil. Felix, thank you for joining us on the Channels Book Club. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's interesting sitting with somebody who is in government to do a book review. I'm sure there are a lot of interesting angles that you're going to be bringing into this. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, when I first saw these books, Delta Beyond Oil, Volume 1 and 2, I was a bit intrigued. I was wondering what to expect. You know. And going through the two volumes, I actually found the subject matter very interesting. Nigeria is at a point where there's a lot of discussions going on with regards to our revenue as a country. We are in trouble today because we have been, to a large extent, a mono economy. And suddenly oil prices have gone south and we have not saved enough and we're in trouble. So the idea of looking at alternative sources of revenue is very interesting. And for me, it made the book very relevant to our time. What was your own initial impression of the books?
Kule, I must thank you for the question. What I want to say is that these two books, centered on Delta Beyond Oil, are driven by three factors. The first, which is the one that readily comes to anybody's mind, is it's talking about a governance program. But the second one, which I find very intriguing, and that's the one that is of greater interest to me, is that it's an attempt to institutionalize a policy. In Nigeria, we have somebody comes into government, enunciates a policy, the next man comes and just pushes it away. In this instance, this is a bold attempt, not by the governor himself, but by the chairman of the Board of Internal Revenue of the state, to institutionalize a policy which he has not only caught up with, but which he thinks the rest of Nigeria should embrace. And that is Delta Beyond Oil, or as the case may be, Nigeria Beyond Oil. Like you rightly pointed out, we are in a fix today. The budget is still not being passed. The budget for 2015 has not been passed. It's for obvious reasons. The benchmark of oil, which is the mainstay of our economy in Nigeria, keeps shifting. And that's a problem because, like you do know, 90% of our foreign revenue earning comes from oil. And in terms of internally generated revenue, oil still accounts for 80%. So, as it were, you say Nigeria is a mono economy. So, this is very good, and you will discover that in a bid to institutionalize this concept, it's an attempt to sell it to the rest of Nigeria, such that whether the governor is there or not, it is a policy that nobody can wish away. Because today, everybody knows that Nigeria is in trouble. We're talking about austerity measures. So many states can't pay salaries. And that's because we are all dependent on oil. And of course, everybody should know that oil is a wasting resource. So to that extent, it's a danger. I mean, it's like a wake-up call. Go back to where you're coming from. The era of granules in the north, the era of cocoa in the southwest, the era of coal and palm oil in the southeast, the era of rubber, because this is our mainstay. And in any case, Nigeria is blessed with abundant natural resources. Oil is just, as it were, something that we have embraced and we have turned to be the cash cow. But we can make much, much more money.
I think you've just summarized the book, really. But maybe to emphasize what you just said, let me read something I marked in the first chapter. There are strong indications that countries that depend on mineral resources as a basis of foreign exchange earnings and overall development are susceptible to the volatility of their prices in international markets. That's what you just said now, and that's what Nigeria is experiencing.
The truth is that that's a very profound statement. Nigerians forget quickly that India, with its population of 1 billion, does not depend on oil. Japan does not depend on oil. China, which is vast population, does not depend on oil. And in any case, like we have found out, the West is not sleeping. America is talking of shale oil. The world is talking of alternative fuel. They are talking about biofuel. So it was a misnomer in the first place to have depended on oil, because our innate capacities and capabilities are not being exploited just because we found oil. And that's what the governor tried to do with the Delta Beyond Oil policy.
Let's focus on the literature part of this, so to speak, now. Now, these 2 volumes were compiled by about... how many compilers again?
Yeah, we actually have the editor of the book, Professor Sam Galino.
That's a Galino, yes.
Who is of the University of Ilorin. Yeah. And then we have 10 other scholars.
10 scholars.
Drawn from 5 universities and a college of education. University of Lagos, University of Benin, University of Ibadan, of course, University of Ilorin, and Delta State University. Like I said, that's why I will not ask people to think that it's a book that attempts to launder image, because most of the contributors are not from Delta State. They treated this book as a scholarly work, and they see it as the future, not just for Delta State, but also for Nigeria. And to have come from a governor, they don't want it politicized. And that's why these scholars decide it's about time we contribute to putting a book together which can serve for policymakers, which can serve for students of oil and gas, students who are interested in other areas of the economy beyond oil. That's why they have done that. And like I said, the aim is to institutionalize the policy, and thankfully, today you find that more people are talking about not just Delta Beyond Oil, but Nigeria Beyond Oil. And this book is a bold attempt to institutionalize that policy.
While reading, I kept asking myself, how ready are Nigerians? Maybe we should start with Deltans. Deltans and Nigerians generally. How ready are we, to embrace that beyond the oil philosophy? Because we have for many years we've seemed so caught up with this oil thing. Perhaps the reality is dawning on everybody now, considering the situation in the country. But are we ready to make that shift? Because it's going to require a lot of sacrifices.
The truth is inevitable. Nigeria, Delta has to make that shift. And one thing you must give to the governor is that he not only enunciated this policy, he has also demonstrated the will to make this work. And like you will know, today, unlike in the past, our internally generated revenue has moved from under 1 billion to between 5 billion and in some cases 9 billion. Now that is because the man realizes that oil will dry up. The continued dependence on oil is not going to serve anybody's purpose, because one day you wake up, it's gone. and then you are stranded. And not just stranded, you have generations yet unborn stranded alongside with you. So this is a wake-up call not only to himself, not only to Deltans, but also to Nigerians. And I can tell you that the mantra has not only caught up with Deltans, it has also caught up with the federal government. Today we hear the president-elect, General Buhari, talking about a Nigerian beyond oil. And he says he wants to make agriculture and mining the mainstay of his administration. That's commendable. And of course, if I must let you know, because of this Delta Beyond Oil policy, Delta today has the biggest cassava farm in the whole of West Africa.
Interesting.
And that's coming because of the will that the governor has in getting an economy that's not depending on oil.
I also noticed from the book there is a suggestion rather that medical tourism taxation should be pursued in order to create those alternative sources of revenue. Yeah.
Perhaps I should let you know that health and education are very key to the Delta Beyond Oil project. And is subsidized, greatly subsidized. Chemotherapy that you would do outside, in Delta you do it for far less. And now everybody is seeing that it is possible. In fact, I must tell you that other states, Edo, Anambra, that are contiguous to us, their women, their children are in schools and they attend our hospitals.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's been a good time with you, and these are two fascinating books, and I hope that the philosophy, being sold in the books rather, will be embraced by all the Nigerians, because we really need to move beyond oil. Thank you for joining us on the Channels Book Club.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please join us on any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo, and remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.